Good evening, everyone. If you'd please stand and join me in the pledge. I'd like to have a moment of silence for the following individuals. Beverly Owen, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Terry Prouty, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Belle Standard, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. A graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. And Margaret Taylor, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Thank you. I have a couple presentations this evening. The first one is a proclamation, so I'll go ahead and read that. Throughout our school buildings, school psychologists have an impact on the district's students and families. They have accepted this exceptional responsibility with commitment, dedication, and love. The school psychologists of the North Syracuse Central School District are professionals of the highest caliber and have dedicated themselves to the ideals of their profession. Students, parents, administrators, and community members recognize, applaud, and appreciate their efforts to ensure students receive quality services. To honor the school psychologists of the North Syracuse Central School District and their accomplishments, I'm Michael Marizio, President of the Board of Education of the North Syracuse Central School District. On behalf of the board, express our deepest gratitude and hereby declare November 10th, 2025 as School Psychologist Appreciation Day to be celebrated with appropriate educational activities. Do I have a motion to accept that? Crabtree and Mark. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? And thank you to all of you. And anyone who's here, please come on up and we'll give you a. All right, next up, we have our district-wide safety plan with some changes. Welcome you up.
Oh, there we go. Is that good? Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Michael Bonval. I'm with OCM BOCES Health and Safety Office, and Mr. Keegan asked me to just give you guys a very brief presentation on the amending the readoption of our district-wide safety plan and why, and that's because of DSHA's law. So you guys just did this recently, but just to remind everyone, so there's a process to approve the district-wide safety plan, and it must be done before September 1st. So you must hold one public meeting. You must then hold a 30-day public comment period. And then after that 30 comment period, if there's no concerns or comments that require revision, you can then adopt the plan. And you guys, the bottom of the slide, you can see those were our dates. So July 21st, and then it was approved on August 25th. And we met the September 1 deadline. Everything was great. Unfortunately, New York State, not unfortunately, I mean, it's for good reasons, but New York State passed the bill known as DSHA's law, and it was signed July 24th. So just 3 days after we brought ours to public comment period. And DSHA's law, I'm going to talk about it much more, but it requires school safety plans to include cardiac emergency response plan. A couple weeks later, on August 14th, SCD sent a memo out that outlined how to meet all these requirements, what materials you guys might need, and all the dates that everything's due by. So that did not give us much time. Thankfully, SCD acknowledged this conflict. They said schools that have already completed their update or are in the process, just go ahead and complete it. And that's fine, that's where we were, but that means you have to amend the plan, you have to do this process all over again, and you must do that by January 20th. So going back to this deadline, we still need to do another public meeting, which is right here, if you guys wish. You can open up the comment period today for 30 days. The next meeting after 30 days would be December 15th. If there's no major comments or needs for revision, you can approve it on that date too. It'll be adopted, and then I will work with Mr. Keegan, and we'll get it into the portal, and you guys will be all set. So what is Desch's Law? For anyone who doesn't know, it comes with a couple things, but in my opinion, the major changes for your district, we must add this annex, which I'll show you, into both our district-wide safety plan and each building level emergency response plan. It also requires general awareness training for all staff and students on the signs and symptoms of cardiac arrest or the life-threatening emergency, and then what steps to take. It does not mandate everyone receive CPR certification. It's just the general awareness training. And then that next point is appropriately train personnel at all school site and school sponsored event that is CPR trained. So you need at least one CPR trained person at any school sponsored event. And you guys are already pretty well in compliance with that. We're just, double checking we don't miss anything. So the effective dates is January 20th for all of that, with the exception of the building level plans, which was September 1st. So we only had 2 weeks to kind of get that in, but we did. But this isn't anything new. Some of these are, but most of them were already existing laws and regulations, and we already complied with those. So for example, New York State Public Health Law 3000B dictates public AED access. And then you have Education Law 917 and the Commissioner's Regulations, which is how schools would meet that Public Health Law 3000B. In 2002, the state passed the Dominic Murray Sudden Cardiac Arrest Prevention Act that mostly geared towards student athletes on the recognition and prevention of cardiac arrest. And then you have a board policy 5682, which is how you meet those requirements. So we meet a lot of those, and we're in compliance with all that already, minus those big changes. But what are we doing to fix this and become compliant with the new changes? So obviously, this district safety plan that we just amended, and you guys are going to put it forth today. All the building level plans, have that annex already in. We listed all the core staff, so such as nurses, coaches, PE teachers, SROs that are already CPR trained. We only had 2 weeks to kind of get that together, but as time goes on, we'll add everyone who's CPR trained in the district at each building. And it has their contact information, there's availability throughout the day and what numbers to call. And we have expanded CPR training. In the last 3 years, I've personally instructed several hundred staff on CPR training. I just did a couple people in this room this week, and we're doing more next week. It's a really great thing. We looked at all of our compliance methods for AED placement, the signage, the availability, everything that goes into that. We're in really good shape there. And then lastly, to help you guys meet that training aspect, my office has put together a presentation, and then it's currently in the marketing department to try to turn it into a video, which will then be able to put it on your website or your online training platform so that staff can meet that requirement very easily. You can probably use it for students too. It's very, very short training. So lastly, this is what was put into your plan. That memo that SED came out with also included a template that districts could use. That's what you see in yellow. So not only is this in the district plan, but this is in every single building plan with that last section filled out for each building and all the certified staff. And then what's in green was just a little introduction I put in there since this is a public facing document. That way it gives a little context. And that is really it. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Question?
All right. Thank you guys very much. Have a good night.
All right, we're going to continue on with our BPT presentation. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Heather Pellegrino, the principal at Roxborough Road Middle School. Thank you for having us this evening. It's wonderful to be here. We're excited to share an update and highlight some of the incredible things taking place at Roxborough Road Middle School. I'm joined tonight by our building planning team chair, Tricia Nelson, along with our 2 associate principals, as well as the newest addition to our team, Gatsby. We'll talk more about him later. I'd like to begin with a brief overview of Roxborough Road Middle School. This year, our enrollment stands just slightly lower than last year with a decrease of 24 students overall. Our English language learner population has remained steady with approximately 30 students continuing to receive NL services. At Roxborough, we are proud to support a wide range of learners through a variety of special education programs. In addition to our CTD and blended programs for students with special needs, we also offer 2 special class programs. Our 1211 program supports students with behavioral. Spend most of the day integrated into the general education setting with the support of a teaching assistant and the flexibility to return to the special classroom as needed for additional structure or support. Our 1214 program provides a self-contained environment for students with cognitive challenges, emphasizing individual instruction, communication, and life skill development. This year, we've experienced a reduction of 3 instructional staff members overall, yet we remain committed to maintaining strong programs, high expectations, and a supportive learning environment for all students. At the heart of Roxborough Road Middle School is a dedicated staff, a caring community, and a shared commitment to helping every student thrive.
Looking at our vision, mission, our the school community or all showing pride in ourselves and our school. Our mission is in order to district that we ensure that partnership with our family. I can mention.
Thank you. The first goal that we'd like to talk about tonight is our multi-tier system of support SMART goal. At RRMS, we will strengthen our multi-tier system of support by implementing classroom-based tier 2 interventions, reviewing student progress data regularly during collaborative team meetings, and refining and consistently utilizing our school support team. The SST has really been a big thing for us this year with utilizing the district handbook that came out from all the work the committee did. In a candid conversation 2 weeks ago following an SST meeting, one of the teachers on the committee had said to me that this is the best she's seen our SST running in the last decade that she's been a part of it. We're effectively running 2 meetings a week right now. We added that so that we can, be supporting our teachers and our students more quickly instead of waiting till the next week. We're getting, 2 meetings in a week, and that's an idea that came from our teachers and our SST chair. This is going to be measurable through our documented tier 2 interventions in the classroom, routine CTM data reviews, and consistent SST referrals and follow-up process, which we're currently. This is definitely attainable as we are really moving our SST forward and making it more impactful for our teachers and our students. It's relevant to all of the goals that you're going to see that apply later on, especially when we look at our math, ELA, and SEL goals. It is all related and it all falls under this MTSS framework. And we really achieved to meet this and reflect on it by the end of the school year this year and to see the progress in all these different systems.
Okay, so here we're looking at our graduation rate SMART goal, and this is tied directly to attendance. We know that research says that students who attend school are more likely to graduate high school. So our goal is to decrease our rate of chronic absenteeism from 24.2% to 22.2%. And if you look down at the bottom right, percent attended, you can see that positive trend. So we're going up, students are attending school, and we're improving in that realm. Also, if you take a look at the chronic absenteeism on the left, you can see the same situation happening there. We have a decrease in chronic absenteeism, And a celebration this year, we did meet our 2% from last year. Actually, we exceeded that 2% decrease in chronic absenteeism. So that's a win for us. And a lot of these action steps are similar to what we did last year. So it was working. So we're going to continue on that path. And so first of all, we're working to improve student sense of belonging. So we want to ensure that students feel valued, they feel heard, and they want to come to school and they belong at school. And we're doing that through restorative practices. So we're leaning into restorative circles, restorative conversations, and re-entry meetings. And we also just continue our commitment to build strong relationships with students and between students as well. We also are promoting a positive postcard initiative, which is really cool because our attendance team created a new postcard for this year. And it's just a really visually appealing design. And every student has an addressed postcard. So every student in our school will receive a positive postcard. And I'm happy to say many of those have already been written and sent out. We're also committed to consistent positive messaging and marketing. Our team is leaning into AI, and we're working to create visually appealing, research-based, relevant infographics that go home in our newsletter, which, have just little snippets of very important information, like 2 days of absenteeism in a month puts you in a chronically absent realm. So those just quick visuals are really helping to educate parents. And that also goes out to students and staff as well. We're also making phone calls to parents, and we're leaning into, we're here to help. That's really our message. We're trying to support and work together with parents to get students to school. And then finally, we're working to develop our incentive program for half days, because our half days and those days right before breaks really seem to be those hot spots when a lot of students are absent. We have what's called a Rockstar raffle, and you would not believe the students that hear their name on the loudspeaker and then get to come to the office to get a prize. The excitement and the enthusiasm, not only from them, but their peers in the classroom. So students cheer and they're excited, and all you have to do is show up on those half days and the day before a break. So that's been super impactful. We're also working to build out our point people, and those are the people that are connecting with kids, making those phone calls home. We're just building that out and ensuring that we're building the relationships and getting our kids to school.
If you recall from our presentation last year, I shared that I was especially concerned about the decline in our ELA test scores. This year, I am happy to be able to share with you some indications of positive progress. As you can see on this slide, the bar graph on the left shows our increase in our overall proficiency rate for ELA, which rose from 25% to 33%, far exceeding our building goal. The bar graph on the right highlights the decrease in the percentage of students scoring at level 1 from 43% down to 36%. Finally, the Ames web data at the bottom reflects our growth from fall to spring in all 3 grade levels. We're especially proud of these results as they reflect the commitment and collaboration of our entire school community. Last year, we implemented a building-wide ELA intervention during WIN, where all students engaged in practice and discussion using actual ELA state test questions. Though we recognize that we still have a lot of work to do ahead of us, I believe the school-wide focus on literacy and test readiness contributed to the encouraging gains we're seeing in our data.
So the slide represents the same as what Heather just explained, but unfortunately we did not meet our math goal for the year. We did see a slight decrease of 3% in percent of students in at Roxborough that were proficient on the New York State math test. We really put our focus and our emphasis last year in the win time on ELA, And one thing that we're adjusting for this year, and we're going to speak more about when we talk about our math and ELA goals, but it's the fact that we're going to balance that time for ELA and math in WIN. You know, we saw some success with our ELA based off that state test prep and the tier 2 intervention that we integrated into the WIN period. And we're going to be splitting that with math as well moving forward this year. We got a bit of an early start on it compared to where we were last year. So we're really excited about, you know, what's going to happen this year for our math. We also have our math department chairperson working very closely with our CTMs and really diving into this data that we have over the last few years, really at the granular level. Lisa Alabrandi has done an amazing job working with our CTMs and really diving into that data. And we're really excited to see where our math department takes it this year under the guidance, you know, of the district leadership and the building level. We're making great strides in math. We made those great strides 3 years ago, and we want to continue to keep moving forward and, you know, regain where we were last year or 2 years. You can see our Ames web data, you know, reflects growth across all 3 grade levels, and we just want to focus and get our state test scores up as well.
Before we get off these 2 slides, just the red and the green at the bottom. I'm
Yep.
missing something here. So what is that telling me? I understand the bar grade. It doesn't matter, math, ELA.
So you can see they're broken down into grade levels, 5th, 6th, and 7th. And the first number on the left represents our students' proficiency in the fall versus the arrow, the number on the right is their proficiency in the spring. So 35, or for 5th grade, for example, 37% of our students fell within the green or the proficient level in fall, and that increased to 49% for 5th grade in the spring, showing growth. Unfortunately, also at the bottom, you can see we had 40% of our students in 5th grade fall within the at-risk range in the fall, and then 41% within the at-risk range in the spring. So just the fluctuation between that yellow that falls in between those. Does that make sense? Up to you.
Last year, I remember this, and it shows right there that the 6th grade did an outstanding. So got 5th, 6th, and 7th. I'm guessing 6th did much better than the other 2 grades. And the other, I'd like to see it. I'm pretty sure 6th grade did very well.
That is accurate. 6th grade was definitely a shining star. One of our teachers was 69%. 69% of her kids were proficient on the New York State math test, which was really exciting. So with regards to our ELA and math, or reading and math goals, this year we decided to step outside the box a bit and take a more creative approach by establishing a combined ELA and math goal. We wanted to think differently about what truly drives growth within our building. We know that collective teacher efficacy, the shared belief among educators that together they can make a real difference for our students, is one of the strongest agents for school improvement. To strengthen that sense of efficacy, we're leaning into several strategies that improve building-wide collaboration. We're implementing teacher-led learning walks that span across grade levels, bringing department chairs more regularly into our CTMs, again, across grade levels, and creating space for open discussions in both department meetings and CTMs about performance gaps and ways to enhance instruction specifically related to those gaps. We are excited for the opportunity to work together as a team, to learn from one another and to continue building a strong, unified community focused on helping every student succeed.
Okay, so taking a look at our SEL goal, our goal is to increase the number of students falling within the proficient range. So that's light and dark green on the CASEL social awareness competency by 2%. So what you see up here is the spring 24 to the spring 25. And so you can see the light green and then the dark green down below. And so looking across, you can see that the light green went from 48% to 48%, so it stayed the same. And our dark green, the strength area, went from 26% to 20%, so down a little bit. Our goal is to increase by 2%. So we have multiple strategies that we're implementing this year, initiatives, you could say, that are going to work to improve social awareness. So the first is Binky and Squirt. So an interesting name. So our studio team, actually the students, created and launched this initiative. And so think Elf on the Shelf. So Binky and Squirt are two parrots, stuffed parrots, that are moving from classroom to classroom, and they're looking for acts of kindness and students going above and beyond. And you know, it sounds kind of silly, but I had a fifth grader come up to me today elated that she received an invitation to be interviewed by this studio team, and she's going to be on the announcements because she was caught in an act of kindness. So it's definitely working, and students are super excited about it. We also have our PE staff implementing good sportsmanship and teamwork. They were noticing that students were struggling a bit in that area. So they've implemented a reward system in which they're promoting sportsmanship and teamwork, and students are working together and learning and being rewarded all at the same time. Our counseling staff is continuing to provide skill-based lunch groups that really foster so many different social skills, promote friendship, just bring students together to work together and to connect. And then finally, we have our Borough Bridges, where our self-selected 7th grade students take on a leadership role, and they work in this mentoring program with the younger students over at Roxborough Elementary School. So a great way to connect. And all of these initiatives really come together to promote social awareness, and that's our goal here.
So at Roxborough Road Middle School, we have so much to be thankful for, a dedicated staff, wonderful students, and a supportive community. But this year, we are especially excited to introduce to you our newest member of our RMS family, Gatsby. Doesn't seem quite as enthused as we are, but he's been busy.
Where does Gatsby come from?
Well, so I am. Gatsby is a 1-year-old professional therapy dog who comes to us from CARES, the CARES organization in Concordia, Kansas. He officially began working at Roxborough just 1 week ago, following a week I spent in Kansas at Handler School, learning how to work with Gatsby and how to best utilize him in our building. Gatsby's role focuses on 3 key areas: building community, supporting students' behavioral success, and contributing to academic progress. He'll help de-escalate students when needed, serve as a positive reward that students can earn, greet students at key points throughout the day, and even participate in a Read to Gatsby program to promote literacy. One interesting fact about Gatsby that you might be like to know is that from the age of 8 weeks to 11 months, he was actually raised and trained in federal and state correctional facilities. During my week in Kansas, I had the really powerful opportunity to meet 2 of his inmate handlers and see firsthand the positive impact the CARES program has on their lives. One of the handlers shared how fortunate our students are to be getting Gatsby and wondered aloud if having a program like this in his own school might have kept him from dropping out of high school and entering into the correctional facility. In just 1 week, Gatsby has already been embraced beyond my wildest expectations by both our students and staff. We are so excited to see the many wonderful ways it can impact our school community. Just over 1, yeah. So you would be shocked when he has his vest on. He knows that he is working. And I was really surprised the first time I took the vest off. He is 100% a 1-year-old puppy when that vest is off and acts every bit of it. It's really fascinating to see.
We have our list of BPT members. They don't follow directions. They were supposed to bring pom-poms. And also, not listed is questions or
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Well, first of all, I'm wondering, does he go home with you or he does? Okay.
Quite a shock.
Yeah,
for
it's probably
them.
it's probably been a really long week for you. So beyond that, I had two questions. One, it, there's the Cassell focus. Most of what we have gotten has been BIMAS. I'm assuming they're comparable. Like the charts look the same and everything, but is it a similar thing?
Well, this is actually our BIMAS data. It just focuses on the Castle competencies, which are outlined in the BIMAS data.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now I'm following. It's like the risk management and all that other stuff that we see. Okay, thank you. The other question that I had was on the attendance thing. There it said percent attended. I just was wondering, is that like, I was just confused as to what that like perfect attendance or something, like what did that mean?
That's students that attended school that were not in the chronically absent range.
Oh, okay. All right. That helps. Thank you.
Really quick, I know we have a lot going on, but tell me really a tiny bit more about the Borough Bridge. I like this, using the opportunity of the two schools being near each other.
So we are really lucky in that we have the unique scenario of having both the middle school and the elementary school on the same campus. And many of our students, as you can imagine, come to us having attended the elementary school on our campus. And so many of them already have a connection with some of the teachers over there. And what we do is our students who have study halls are able to sign up to participate in Borough Bridges, in which they, during their study hall time, are able to go across the pond, we call it, to the elementary school and work in some of the elementary school classrooms to support the teachers as well as the students in a buddy kind of process. It is amazing.
Earl. Thank you for the shirt that PTG gave me. You're amazing staff, administrators. There are so many, I know Mr. Corolla talked about this, about poverty. And I deliver meals to seniors, so I know where the poverty is. There's quite a bit in our community. It's not just in Mattydale, it's throughout. It's in Cicero, it's everywhere. But your teachers and staff dedicated to helping these kids. I just want the community to know that, and my church, the Lutheran Church, is collecting items. These kids need so much that they don't have from their parents: deodorant, shampoo, soap. And Dr. Ward and I belong to the Optimist Club, and we have now helped 4 schools. And I just want you to know that these kids are coming to school without food. They're coming without clothing that they can't get, and the school goes beyond. So thank you for what you do. I like test scores. They mean a lot, but we have to help our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hi, welcome.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Jones. I am the proud principal of Gillette Road Middle School, and I'm joined this evening by our two associate principals, Elizabeth Franciscotti and Sean Ackley, and also our BPT chairperson and sixth grade teacher, Eileen Gleason. We're also joined in the back by some of our other BPT members, and we're really happy that they decided to join us this night, but none of them brought their dog along. We are excited to have the opportunity to share with you the important work that we're doing at Gillette Road Middle School.
Okay, good evening. I'm just going to run you through a comparison of what makes up Gillette Road Middle School. You'll notice we have just over 1,100 students having the fourth grade, fifth, obviously sixth and seventh. We have 28 sections of CTD and 4 full classrooms of 15:1. Last year, our fourth class was added in January. So we currently have 4 full classrooms and they are pretty full. Our ENL numbers are a little bit different because last year we included the monitored students as well as the students who receive direct services. This year we have 17 students who receive direct services for ENL, and we have an additional 24 who are being monitored. We have the same number of staff members, 159. We are not a Title I school. Our free and reduced lunch percentage has gone down a little bit, but our transient population is still pretty steady at 35. Our mission statement at Gillette, our purpose is to support all students in their transition between elementary and secondary school by ensuring that our students develop the academic and social emotional skills necessary to be successful. First goal focuses on our PLC and MTSS area, and our goal is to strengthen our MTSS framework in order to improve student outcomes. We have our collaborative teams that are meeting consistently. It's once every 6-day cycle to talk about the Tier 1 curriculum, our essential standards, and we are reviewing student progress on CFAs in order to plan different interventions and extensions as well for those students who are meeting the standards. And we're doing that during our flex time or in classroom instruction as well. Students who are not making the progress, we're referring them to our SST, where additional interventions will be determined and monitored. And then that evidence will be seen in meeting notes, intervention plans, and measurable growth on the school-wide universal screening data.
Before we get into our academic goals for this year, we want to share with you the progress that we made last year. Last year, we shifted to setting our ELA and math goals by a cohort instead of a grade level. This allowed us to track how each group of students grew over time rather than starting fresh each year. Here you will see our ELA data. It's at the top of the graph. You'll see on this chart that each bar represents a cohort. Our classes are from last year were the class of 2033 through the class of 2030. Our class of 2033 is, of course, our fourth graders from last year, and then up to our seventh graders all the way to the right. On the chart, you will see state averages in green, and our school-wide Gillette Road Middle School results are in blue. Darker sections show where students started based on the previous year's state test or state assessment, and the lighter sections show their growth during the past year. So for example, if you're looking at the class of 2033, who's last year's fourth graders, in the green across New York State, you'll see that this cohort demonstrated 46% proficiency when they were in third grade. They had an 8% increase over their fourth grade year, and 54% of fourth graders statewide showed proficiency on the ELA state test, meaning that they achieved a level 3 or 4. At Gillette Road Middle School, the same cohort began the year with 30% proficiency based on their third grade state assessment in the spring. But last year, they showed a 17% increase in their proficiency, ending the year with 47% of students proficient on the ELA state test, outpacing the state's growth by 9 percentage points. You'll see that our fifth graders, the class of 2032, also outpaced the state in growth, gaining 10% overall compared to the state's 8%. Oh, I'm sorry, 16% compared to the state's 10%. Our sixth graders, the class of 2031, began the year just above the state average and still managed to outpace the state in growth, which is really a strong sign of consistent progress. Finally, our seventh graders, the class of 2030, stayed very close to the state's proficiency rate, maintaining steady performance from 6th to 7th grade. Overall, our ELA results show that our students are continuing to make solid gains in several cohorts. We're seeing growth that exceeds the state's pace in 3 of our 4 cohorts from last year. Just as we did in ELA, our math goals are also set by cohort. This allows us to measure growth over time within each graduating class. This graph shows proficiency data for classes of 2033 through 2030. As before, state averages are in green and Gillette Road Middle School results are in blue, with the darker color indicating where the group started from the previous spring, and then the lighter section showing the growth or actually decline as far as the state level was concerned in 2 of the cohorts. So the class of 2033, again, our 4th graders from last year, Gillette Road Middle School students showed 7% growth in proficiency compared to a loss of 1% in proficiency statewide, moving our students to match the statewide proficiency level at 55%. The class of 2032, our 5th graders from last year, also exceeded the state growth, gaining 1 percentage point as the state lost 1 percentage point, narrowing our gap in proficiency. Our 6th graders, who are our class of 2031 last year, demonstrated particularly strong performance. They began the year above the state proficiency level with a rate of 54% proficient at the end of 5th grade, and still outpaced the state in growth of 12% compared to the state's 11%. Finally, the class of 2031, who were our 7th graders, or 2030 rather, last year's 7th graders, continued that upward trend, ending the year with 72% proficient on the math state test, 16 points higher than the state average. Across all cohorts in math, Gillette Road Middle School students showed consistent and in several cases exceptional growth, with every grade level outperforming either the state in overall proficiency rates or in rate of growth, or in some cases both. As we continue to support student growth, we'll maintain our cohort model as we set goals using data from last spring's assessments to establish targets for the end of this school year. To set those targets, we consider 2 key data sources. We consider New York State assessments, which measure mastery of specific grade level standards, as well as Ames Web Plus Universal Screener data, which provides a broader view of foundational reading and math skills, helping us to identify each student's relative strengths and areas of risk compared to national benchmarks. Together, these data points allow us to set meaningful, individualized growth goals that reflect both curriculum-based achievement and skill development over time. For our math goals specifically, which supports our district goal around graduation rate, we have set goals for our cohorts. Our class of 2034 and class of 2033, which are our current 4th and 5th grade students, we're looking for an increase of 5% of the students in the green on Ames Web Plus and a decrease of 5% of students in the red on that same assessment. And we're also looking for a 5% increase in New York State proficiency rate based on where that cohort left off in the spring of last year. In 6th and 7th grade, our class of 2032 and 2031, we're primarily looking at proficiency rates, increasing both for Ames Web and state assessment at 5%. If you're wondering how we figure out our proficiency rate for 5th grade, it's a bit of a toss-up because not all of our students are coming from the same place. So you'll see some asterisks next to that 55% proficient on the 4th grade state assessment. And the way that we determine that number is we take the proficiency rates from our 4 feeder schools, which ended up being Gillette Road Middle School, 4th graders, Smith Road, Bear Road, and Cicero Elementary School. We take those 4 schools' proficiency rates and come up with an average. It's not an exact science, but it's as close as we can get. On this graph, you'll see just another look at our goals for the New York State Math Test, and this graph provides you a look back at that cohort's performance over the past 2 years. So for example, if you look all the way to the right at the class of 2031, you'll see that our goal for this year is 71% proficient on the 7th grade math assessment. Also provided for you is how this cohort performed on their 6th grade assessment at Gillette Road Middle School in 2025, where they were 66% proficient, and also how they performed in 5th grade on their assessment at Gillette Road Middle School in 2024, when they were 54% proficient. This graph provides a nice visual representation of our commitment to growth over time. Similarly, we've set our ELA goals with the same cohort mindset, looking to increase proficiency based on where that group of students is starting and where we'd like them to get to at the end of the year. So again, we're looking at a 5% increase in proficiency at the state assessment level as well as the AIMSWeb level. And we're also looking at a 5% reduction of students in the red, specifically at our lower grade levels, 4th and 5th grade. Here you'll see the same look at our students' progress over time. Of course, the class of 2034 doesn't have any data for the year of 2024 because they were in 2nd grade at the time and didn't take an assessment. So that's why there's no green bar for that grade level. But we're hoping that you'll see we are continuing to make progress and continue to shoot higher with each individual group of students.
Our 4th goal for this school year is attached to our graduation rate as well. We're hoping to reduce chronic absenteeism from 14%, where we currently landed last year, to 10% or less. The graphic that's up on the screen right now demonstrates that we are trending downward on our chronic absenteeism rate as we recognize students with strong attendance, educate parents, and continue to emphasize school connections as a means to getting students to attend on a more regular basis, noting to families through our education outreach that how critical it is that you be in regular attendance to be able to achieve greater proficiency levels in the classroom. Some of the things that we have implemented and will continue to enhance are some recognition with good attendance certificates, so that every marking period, students who were missed only 1 or 2 days of school during that entire marking period receive a certificate that goes home to their families acknowledging their accomplishment. And then along with that, we put every student in each grade level into a raffle, and then we provide a prize to one of those students out of each grade level in recognition of that. What we do after the first marking period is we also recognize students who made the greatest improvement in their attendance. So we provide an incentive prize to each student at each grade level that showed drastic increases in their attendance from one marking period to the next to further incentivize them. Ms. Gleason had a student who was chronically absent for an extremely long period of time, and can attest to the joy on his face when he was recognized for how greatly he improved his attendance and was recognized for that with a prize. We are also doing some mentorship of students who is struggling attendance. So we look at our attendance data and then pull that with a cross-reference of students who are already connected to a staff member in some way, whether that's through counseling or informal mentorship, and students who don't have an adult connection that are on our list for chronic absenteeism. We connect them with a staff member that can do daily check-ins or just, hey, I'm glad to see you today. Reach out so that they know that their presence is valued. We also make regular phone calls from home, and we ask that our teaching staff make the first reach out to say how much we've missed them in school via a phone call or parent square message before that call comes from one of the principals. Family education is our last bullet on this. So we utilize Parent Square to send out regular infographics that share
what the chronic absenteeism does to a student, and how regular attendance can really impact their learning outcomes to help encourage them. We also try to make our half days very appealing. So our very first half day of the year, one of our big accomplishments is in the past 2 years is that we've brought back a school-wide pep rally. Or I should say not brought back, but implemented. The pep rally brings the entire school community together in a fun way on a half day. We let kids know that it's happening and coming, and we have them dress up in their team colors, and they play some team building activities with the kids in their classes, with the whole student body looking on. And it just really promotes kids wanting to be there and a sense of community.
Thank you for having us tonight. The last goal we're going to be talking about tonight is our fifth goal for the year. And that is to support the district goal around the social emotional competencies. And our goal for this year is by June of 2026, we will see an increase in the student self-reporting in the green, specifically in the areas of self-awareness and self-management, which are in the orange up there on the screen. Those are kind of the two lower ones that we have on here. We did this year do a self-reporting for the sixth graders, which we have not done in the past. And the results were kind of just different. We didn't expect what we got, where when the teachers in the past have done the reporting, it seems like the reporting was fairly good. Not as many issues, but when the students reported themselves, we saw a bigger disconnect from what we'd seen in the past. And that's something we're going to focus on throughout the rest of the year. We actually still have a few kids that have to take it because there was some computer issues, but we're hoping to improve that this year. As you can see, we're at 10 and 39% for the self-awareness. We're going to move the green up, get rid of some of the 34 in the red, and the same thing with the self-management. Some of the ways we're going to be working on that is through our SEL committee. And the big thing that we're doing at Gillette is using the EL habits of characters to kind of push our SEL along. Each marking period, we have different characters that we're using. This past one was community, safe community, where we're talking about self-control and respect. The teachers nominate students who they see do that throughout the first 10 weeks of school. We've moved on right now. At the end of this week, we'll move on to effective learners. And the teachers will nominate people for initiatives, responsibility, perseverance, and collaboration. And then twice a year during after the first semester, all those students that got one of the awards from the teachers will be invited to an ice cream social at the end of the school day. Last year, between the first semester ice cream social and the spring one, we had over 450 students that actually were nominated for awards. One of the feedback we got from last year is the parents didn't know what the kids were getting the award for by the time the certificate got home. So talking to the committee, we've changed it this year where we're actually going to put the teacher's quote on why they nominated the student for that award so that the parents will know they got it for respect and this is why the teacher thought they were respectful or empathy as we go through. Kind of changing some things up there that we did last year. I will say one of the nice things, kind of bringing back, Beth said, bringing back the pep rally. It was brought to me a couple weeks ago from a teacher to bring back what Gillette used to have as USA Day. I don't know what it was back in the day, all the community. So we're bringing that back after, well, I've been there for 7 years, or this is my 7th year. We haven't had it 1 year because of COVID. So after 7 years, we're bringing that back this spring. Hoping to do it June 5th. Having some of the people who ran it back in 2019, 2018 coming back to help us do that. So that's going to be a fun thing to bring back and get the students involved with things out in the community back to the school.
So some things that we're celebrating is that we have been implementing a newly revamped school support team. So it's one of the initiatives in the district. And we are lucky enough to have Sarah Jones, who has been hard at work with MTSS to really revamp school support teams. So we have a very formatted approach, and so that we have a standing committee instead of a rotating group of staff members that participate in the school and an easy referral process so that students that are struggling, whether it be academically or behaviorally, can be brought to that team so that we can recommend interventions and then track the interventions and then meet again to see if there's progress being made for students. It again is our second year with our fourth grade students. We're very proud of how well they're doing in our school community. They blend in seamlessly with us now, and it's been wonderful to work with those fourth grade teachers as well. We've expanded some of our after-school club and community opportunities. Our very own Eileen Gleason has brought in Service Squad, which is tying in some of those values of character as well as community service that students can participate in our school. We also have 5 of our BT members who recently attended the Solution Tree 15-day challenge conference. They're all department chairs or teachers of influence within our school community so that they can then turn that around to our staff in our collaborative team meetings so that we can better implement that PLC process where the review of data that we talk about how we're going to intervene or how we're going to enrich our students when we look at that data collaboratively. And then this is year 2 of our implementation of our flex period. The flex period really provides us an opportunity to intervene with students. Generally referred to as WIN in many other schools, we refer to flex because it also provides us the opportunity to give students a chance to attend band course and orchestra during our school day, which they weren't able to before. So this time period in our day allows us to enrich our students as well as to intervene on students that are in need of extra support. And we feel really prepared for our use of a hybrid report card this year. So we've done a lot of staff training around how to manage the new report card with our characteristics of a learner as we're slowly stepping into our standards-based grading process. So we feel like that is going to be successful at the 10-week mark step into it, where our teachers are actually using, instead of including in their grade characteristics of a learner, it's separated out so that they can indicate whether or not a student is meeting expectations or approaching them with their habits of character. So this step 1 towards that standards-based report card goal.
Have some pictures from some of our celebrations. The first 2 pictures from the far left are of our pep rally. You'll notice the bottom picture, every single classroom made a flag that represented them. So that's what those are from. The second column, we have our Minute to Win It games in which teachers and students, one of the last days of school, get really excited when their name is called, and they're all fun games and there's lots of prizes. We kind of embarrass ourselves too. Below that is the history fair. We had 221 students participate this year. Mr. Crabtree, I looked that number up just for you. This was our 3rd year at the history fair, and it has exploded beyond my wildest dreams. So if you've never been, please come this year. The next picture is our Joseph Bruchac visit when he came and spoke to the 6th graders after we read 2 roads. Below that is the 4th and 5th grade field trip to the Mets game. And then the last 2 pictures are just from last week when our 7th graders took a field trip to Green Lakes. We are really focused on community building and trying to bring back the field trips and the other things to do, which is a little bit more difficult for us, being that we don't have the funding that the other schools might have.
On the screen here, you'll see the names of all of our dedicated BPT members who represent both department chairs as well as staff members who volunteer their time to serve on our building planning team. And we welcome your questions.
I just wanted to say, in addition to the fact that you're doing USA Day, which is awesome. It was when I was at Gillette, it was like the best day of the year. I appreciated that you were doing the cohort. I feel like, and I don't know how the rest of my colleagues feel here, but it was a lot easier to understand where the improvements are being made, especially because the idea is that, as we get another year of education, that cohort continues to become more proficient. So I appreciated that. And I don't know if that's something we could try to have other schools implement in the future, because for me, at least, I don't want to speak the rest of the board. It just made it a lot easier for me to understand the data.
No, I like the graphs. They were. The hybrid report card, just you. How about you have a standards-based number?
Yeah, so the middle school is planning to implement a standards-based report card fully in the fall of 2026. This year, we are taking a hybrid approach, so students are still receiving a grade point average as they have traditionally, but they are receiving more standardized comment codes on 4 characteristics of a learner. And that's at both middle schools. So parents will see how students are responding to those behavioral expectations, very similar to what is on our K-4 elementary report card, but fewer characteristics of a learner, just given the sheer number of students that our middle school educators work with every day.
Parents will be familiar with this.
Yeah, it's real
Doesn't come with like a handbook and
correct. And our parents have
some crazy steps from standards based.
Yeah. Our parents received information about the hybrid report card for this year, and they'll receive similar education looking to the standards-based report card the year that follows. However, it's very similar to our K-4 report card so for parents that are continuing on in the district, it will be a familiar document for them. I'm a fan too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have no comments from the audience this evening, but as always, we welcome any public input. Board of Education Committee reports. Anything, Mr. Thorne?
We are not going to have a legislative committee meeting this Wednesday because on Thursday, many of us will be meeting with Senator Ryan, student staff, and some board members to discuss this coming year.
Hi, yes. This is the time of year where all of our student athletes are in playoffs or ending their season, and I just think we should. So I asked Mr. Bendarski for a brief update because I think that there's some really exciting things going on. So I think that one of the biggest pieces is our girls soccer Section 3 champs again for the 3rd year in a row. So that's just awesome. Our girls volleyball plays in sectional finals against Liverpool as we speak. Football plays Liverpool Friday in Liverpool in the semifinals. Boys volleyball plays FM next week in the semifinals. Cross country sectionals are this Saturday at Mount Markham. Girls swim sectionals are on November 5th at Nottingham. And the cheerleading finished second this past weekend at the game day sectionals. So there's a lot going on in athletics, and it's always nice to see the successes that we're having. And then also right around the corner, we have new season starting. So it's just an exciting time of year. That's all I had.
Do you have any board comments?
Yeah, I do this every year. I think reminding folks that tomorrow is election day, and there's no state or federal elections, but there's a lot of local stuff on the ballot. And when there's like pilot agreements and things happening, our local elected officials are the folks that are negotiating those. So it really matters that we are making sure that the local folks are having our school district's best interest and the best interest of public education. So 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Make sure you go vote.
A quick share that Dr. Ward and board. I don't know when it was. Last week? Was that not me? Was that somebody else? Anyway, yes.
It was a week and a half ago, Paul.
Conference, just throwing that out there that it's in Buffalo next year. Interesting to see how they did that and how they advertised.
Wanted the board and administration know that I was nominated by the Onondaga Madison School Boards Association to be our representative, representing North Syracuse. Also, I was asked to be a member of the Central New York School Boards Association Board of Directors. I attended their meeting October 29th. I'll give you a report. I asked for your support. I've asked Jill to put it on the agenda next meeting for you to support me. I think it's important to have a representative on this. It does not, I learned it's not just Onondaga County, it's Cayuga County, it's down by Ithaca. So it's a big organization, but I would ask for your support. As my colleague said, Election Day is tomorrow. So if you're hungry, there's a chicken and biscuit dinner to support Meals on Wheels from 4 to 8 tomorrow, right down the road at the Masonic Temple. Also, to remind people that the canteen, which we are very supportive of in this district, has a spaghetti dinner this Saturday at the Cicero Firehouse. Come support the canteen. And I know Josh will love the next one. There's another vote coming up. I get to say it another time, November 19th, to everybody that's here from 10 to 8 o'clock is the OCM BOCES vote on their capital project, which many of our kids in both middle schools, a lot of them go to our programs. You may vote not in our district, but at the main campus over there in Liverpool, Crown Road across from Amazon, Thompson Road, or Cortlandville. I do want, the person's not here tonight, but I do want to tell you, Dr. Ward, I was very impressed with the new procedure on tenure reports. We have been asking, many board members asking for a form that is coherent throughout the school district. And Mike has done that, and I want to thank him for that. It's easier for us to read. I don't know how the principals feel. Amazing, and makes it easier for the board members to let Mike know that. Thank you.
Hi, our principal's cabinet at the high school is hosting our staff and student trivia event soon. We did it last year and it was very successful, and we're hoping to grow its success every time we do it. Probably we'll do it again in the spring. As far as our student voter registration goes, we are actively working on our presentation and working on the ins and outs of when we will do it and avoiding election days and making sure that none of that conflicts. So yeah, that's about it.
Motion to consider the approval of the minutes of October 20th, 2020. Paul and Mandy, any questions? Those in favor? Okay. I'll put B and C together, the consideration of classification and placement of submitted. Josh and Mark, any questions or comments? Okay. Next is to acknowledge the business office reports for July of 2025. Reports as presented. Josh, any questions or comments? Finally, declaration of marketable and non-marketable surplus. Do I have a motion to accept that list as presented? Discussion action items. The first one is off of the safety plan. Go ahead. Mandy, any? Don, that starts the 30-day window today. The This is a roll call vote. Do I have a motion for this? Paul and Josh? Jill? Yes?
Aye.
Next, we have an acknowledgement of a gift. The North Syracuse Early Education Program received donated toys valued at $200 from Ann Scuderi. Do I have a motion to accept with gratitude those gifts? Josh? Have a request of approval for do I have a motion to accept with gratitude? Sorry. Mark and Josh, any questions? All those in favor? Say. Roxborough Road Elementary School. Paul, any questions or comments? Memorandum of agreement between the North Syracuse. Five. Do I have Josh? And Mary? Questions or comments? Five zero two. Local 317. Mark and Mandy, any questions? Sure. That is. Bus driver is retiring with 21 years of service. Anthony Pekowski, a science teacher, is retiring with 23 years. Clark Perez, a reading teacher, retiring with 33 years. Donna Marie Norton, Executive Director for Data Accountability and School Improvement. All a long, happy, and healthy retirement, and thank them all for their dedication. Next, we just want to acknowledge the resignation of board member Dr. Beth Kramer with thanks and sincere appreciation for her dedicated service to the North Syracuse Center. All of us that she will be greatly missed. Executive session before we move into personnel. All those in favor? Okay. Mark and Mandy, any questions? I'll make a motion for executive session to review one legal matter, follow, and two parental appeals with act. Follow. Do I have a second? Josh, all those in favor? Thank you.